What's going on, everybody? Burt Byler and Chuck Diesel here. Normally here on the channel we make and celebrate Americana music, but today we have to have a more difficult discussion because of some things that have been happening in our community. Recently I got a message from multiple people in our community that were very disappointed with the actions of one of our favorite songwriters. To put it bluntly, this songwriter who we all love and who they paid money to go to their concert sexually harassed a few women after the show at the concert. And I am not here to speak for women. I'm not here to be a white knight in any stretch of the imagination, but we do want to give our perspectives as musicians who have not only witnessed it, but experienced it in the past. And to be honest, I'm sick and tired of hearing stories of women being harassed and mistreated in my community, which is the music and Americana or country community. And first off, I just want to talk about the power dynamics in a concert. So I'm a songwriter, Chuck is too, and we've done tons of concerts and we've seen it firsthand to where women are paying money to come see a person. They're excited about meeting that person because most of the time when you hang around after a concert is because you want to meet the band or meet the songwriter. And so the power dynamic is already off, right?
Yeah, and there's multiple levels of it. It's like, if you're at a show and a dude who was just on stage, everybody's hanging out afterwards. There's a lot of people that love this person that just paid a bunch of money to see this person sing into a microphone on stage, and it's very hard in that situation to stand up and say, "Stop talking to me like that," or "Leave me alone," or "F off," because their behavior is inappropriate. Because you're already in a spot where this person is in a position that's kind of elevated socially. So there's a power dynamic there, but also just in general, there is a sense where plenty of times men take rejection or dismissal from women very personally and allow themselves to respond harshly, verbally, and sometimes even violently. And it's difficult to say that women can easily stand up for themselves when there's such a power dynamic differential of just kind of the general threat of violence from some random dude that you told to quit bothering you at a bar.
Yeah, and I wish you could have been in our Discord because it went from these people in our community that were saying, "I just cried because he played this cover that I recommended and it was the best cover I've ever heard." They went from like completely in love with this person to completely disgusted by this person within a matter of an hour or an hour and a half and 2 hours. And it's just so disappointing that people that we love and respect would treat other people the way that is going on in concerts and obviously in bars and just regular situations too. This doesn't just happen in music. But me personally, I've never been the kind of guy to like go hit on a lot of girls. Like I've never been the one who's like after the show going and trying to flirt or going to try to get laid or any of that kind of stuff. It's just not my personality. I'm very reserved when it comes to meeting new people. So I've never personally really gone above and beyond to harass women to try to hook up or whatever. But I've witnessed it plenty of times. I've experienced other people doing it, and I have not said a word. I've allowed it to happen. I have enabled it to happen because I just sit on the sidelines and pretend like everything is okay. So we're here sharing experiences and trying to learn how to be better. And me being the person who maybe is not the one running to try to flirt or whatever, I still have a part to play in this. And there's probably a lot of you out there that are like me that maybe aren't the people doing it, but you may be the person witnessing and experiencing it happen, and you also have a part to play. And so I want to do so much better on my end that I don't let this stuff happen and just not do anything about it. I want to be an active ally to women in this kind of situation. And this has been a very big wake up call for me to own up to things that I have not done in the past and to try to learn how I can do better in the future, right? And so you're
I have a different perspective.
different perspective. I don't know how to put it, but yeah.
So there's like two jobs sometimes you have when you're on the road. You're trying to get paid and you're trying to get laid.
Yeah.
I spent plenty of time chasing ladies while on the road, and I know some of the specifics of what happened in the specific situation we're talking about, and I've heard a lot of what was said, and I've done and said much worse myself. I have been guilty of behaving worse than even that. And the thing that strikes me is at the time, I thought I was doing good. There's kind of like well, you don't talk like that in a Sunday school type of way.
Yeah.
But there's no like, you don't treat people like that in my brain at the time. And the only reason I realized it is because I finally developed some friendships with women where they were open enough with me to talk about how that type of behavior affects them, and I was able to reflect on my own behavior and see what a complete asshole I was for so many years just in the ways I spoke to women.
And it's the same thing with me, where it's sad that somebody in my community had to experience it and share it to me before it really became a thing.
Yeah.
Instead of me believing other people and educating myself. It's sad that somebody that is in our monthly membership had to experience it before it became like a big deal to me.
And I think that we're all kind of, to a certain degree, men have blinders on, because culturally, this was how I was taught to behave from music and books and television and movies. We specifically talked, Burt and I talked about the film Big Trouble in Little China, where Kurt Russell's character Jack Burton rides into town after drinking all night and gambling all night, goes into an airport, runs into Kim Cattrall's character, and starts to hit on her, just brazenly, openly hitting on her. And she tells him multiple times to leave her alone. And in a few scenes later, they've had sex. The message is so clear that confident, persistent, pushy men get sex from women, which is what leads to this type of treatment of women in what should be polite company.
And it's celebrated. It's not only are you taught that, you are celebrated for being that guy, for being the guy that doesn't take no for an answer, that just keeps crossing the line and keeps pushing the boundaries when you meet people. And it's just so disgusting how not only do we just accept it as a culture, but we praise people for
kind
it.
of celebrate it, yeah. And there's, I think one of the big things about it is that it didn't occur to me that I was doing this.
Yeah.
I felt like this was the right thing to do. So I listened to a podcast recently where they interviewed 50 women and 50 men about catcalling. Do you catcall? Are you catcalled? How does it make you feel? And 95% of the men were like,
Now,
they're like, I love it. I love to see a beautiful woman and make her day brighter. I love to just shout out to her and make her feel beautiful. And all except one of the women said, I hate it. It's the worst part of my day. And guys just don't realize, because of kind of how we were brought up, the culture we're brought
how
up in.
lucky are they to receive a compliment from us? Seriously.
Yeah. And this doesn't seem threatening at all. A stranger talking to you about your body.
Right.
We don't even realize what we're doing it, because the culture is kind of already there for us to view women that way or treat women that way or celebrating that behavior. I feel like the real question for us is, how can we as men do better in this situation? For me, it was really helpful to listen to a lot of my female friends who finally felt that I was genuine enough in wanting to hear their experience and believe them and trust that they could say whatever they want to say. And what I heard them was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Their experience was shocking to me, because I didn't realize it had that effect. And they don't feel comfortable opening up about it because it's not very warmly received often by men. I feel like there's a lot of work that we as men need to do in this situation from the first person in how we speak to women.
And I feel like the reason we're not able to receive any kind of feedback like that is because we've been taught our whole life to not ask any questions, to not think about stuff. It's just accept things for what they are, accept things for how they are. But ladies and gentlemen, times change. And we were talking about earlier how we accept certain things, and now people are like, well, people are just so woke now. People are just won't let you do anything. No, the thing is, like, all of this stuff has been bad for a long time. This has never been okay to treat people like this. And now people are finally starting to educate themselves and starting to learn. We are trying to educate ourselves on how to be better men in the context of our industry, which is music and concerts and the music space. And we just want to encourage all the men out there to check yourself. Why don't you, next time you're in a situation like this, just reflect a little bit.
This is a cliche, but I think, and we shouldn't have to think of it like this, but it's a good rule to put in there. Would you like someone to talk to your mother, sister, or daughter the way that you're speaking to this woman?
Ooh, somebody talk to my sister the way this man talked to this lady. It would be wild. I'm not very violent. I would call you to go beat him up. But like, something would happen. Something. Imagine your daughter.
Yeah, it's,
Oh.
and we never want to put that ourselves in that position in our brain, because we would have to hold ourselves accountable for that. I think that's a good place to start, to put that barrier. Would I want someone to speak to my daughter, my sister, or my mother like this? I just feel like we as men have got to do better. This is not an issue about women protecting themselves. This is about men doing better.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just a time to reflect. It's a time to learn. It's a time to listen. And it's a time to speak up whenever you see this happen. So if you're like me and you need to just talk and let some people know, hey, that's not okay, you need to do that. If you've been the culprit of this kind of stuff, you need to reflect and you need to check yourself, check how you're acting. And we're not trying to say don't go flirt with women. We are pro having a good time.
But you should listen to what those women say to you
Yes.
when you speak to them. And if they tell you to leave them alone, leave them alone.
Yeah, and so thank y'all so much for watching this video. We're just trying to start the conversation. We're trying to learn. What is that noise? We're trying to learn how to be better men and treat women like they deserve to be treated. And it's sad that we're having to even ask these questions, but we do. And it's happening in our industry. I don't know how often it happens, or I don't know like what the percentages are, but we just want to take a stand and say that it's not okay. It's shameful. It's disgusting. And whether or not you're drunk,
woke mobbing here either.
No.
It's definitely not woke mob. We're admitting that we
We are
have been
saying
assholes
that
in this regard.
we are part of the problem, and we want to learn and we want to do better. And then another thing, alcohol and drugs is not an excuse. It's not. Period. I don't care. Just don't treat people bad, no matter what you're on or what you're doing. Be better. And we just appreciate y'all watching. Anything else you want to leave us with?
I love you guys. Let's do better, man.
We're trying to be better, and we encourage you all to be better. And we'll see you in the next video.